Stephen McBee Jr., good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well.
All right, the McBee Dynasty, Real American Cowboys, new show. We're going to talk a lot about it, but I want to get right to the ranch, right to the farm and cattle ranch your family owns. Right out of the gate, I'm kind of curious. Is this something your dad started, or how many generations back does this farm go?
We're actually a first-generation farmer, so we started in 1998. So we're not multi-generation. My dad started it, and we've tried to carry it on and grow it.
See, I think that's really important because you kind of, I mean, let's be honest, in the overall scheme of things, in the history of this country, you guys are kind of new to all of this ranching and cowboy stuff, but you have come a long way super fast.
Yeah, we've grown very, very quickly. And yeah, I think it definitely plays a dynamic. So many people are interested to know that we are first generation. And, it plays into the whole us needing that $105 million deal because these farms, this ground, the equipment is not paid off. We're making loan payments every single day trying to make this place survive and make it to the next year.
Yeah, it ain't cheap. And speaking of money, people may also know you from your time on Joe Millionaire for Richer or Poorer. I got one question regarding that. What is easier, going out on a first blind date or trying to run a farm and ranch?
Oh, definitely going on a first blind date. And that's not saying that that's easy. That just tells you how hard running a farm and ranch is.
Right. No, I totally get it. Now, I have just a blip on the radar of some farm experience. I lived up in upper state New York, near Hebron, New York, and when I was in high school, and I would go work the farm in the morning. I would go to school, and I'd finish up in the afternoon. So that's about all the experience I get. What you're doing is a whole nother level. Now, you're the CEO of McBee Farm and Cattle, and you're just because of age, just because of maturity, because you got other brothers who are doing stuff too.
Yeah, my brothers work in the farm and ranch every single day. I think just being the oldest child, I've always said that I'm a 29-year-old going on 50, and I say that because I wake up early, I work, I don't live a crazy lifestyle, and then you have my dad, who's the polar opposite. He's 50 going on 21, and so I think just out of necessity, really, I've taken over the day-to-day operations and more of the CEO role.
Yeah, your dad is almost like more like one of the younger brothers than he is dad. And is he who he is and acting like he is because he was so serious and responsible in his earlier years? Now he's just kind of letting it all hang out?
I think that's just who he is and who he's always been. And in saying that, he's the hardest worker I've ever met in my life. Like, he can do things that none of us boys could even touch when it comes to tough negotiations, when it comes to dealing with stress and pressure. He is brilliant at that. And I think the reason why he's brilliant at that is because he's able to balance it out with his personal life of having some fun.
Yeah, no, it takes some juggling for sure. I mean, look, all work and no play, am I right?
That's right. We like to say that we work hard and we probably play a little bit harder.
All right, nothing wrong with that. Now, again, the show is the McBee Dynasty, Real American Cowboys. You're going to find it Monday nights, USA Network, and it streams over on Peacock, too.
In every sense of the word.
Jess, run!
It may look fun.
Watch yourself! But it's chaos.
I'm Steve McBee. I've spent the majority of my life building this farm and ranch, acre by acre. One of the boys is going to have to take over the farm. I'm just not sure who that's going to be. Steven is driven, number one in his class.
I'm trying to run the global business. This company would not run without me.
Cole is a wild child. Do not try this at home, boys and girls.
Braden's my baby brother.
I grew up with my mom. I just wasn't quite as close with my dad.
My brother Jesse's the pretty boy.
I saw his hair flow back.
I'm actually jealous, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, boy.
Do you think Dad would trust you with taking over the farm? That ain't gonna happen over my dead body.
Oh, you think you're the head of the table, huh?
I am the head of the table, bud. Unless you wanna fight me for it.
This family in the drama.
Right now, we're $50 million in debt. Galena's our CFO, and she's been working to borrow $105 million. The success of this deal is in Galena's hands.
You better be nice to Galena, because we need her for this.
What's up, handsome? You want some coffee?
They're gonna know my name. Everybody knows the McBees.
We have so many enemies in this community.
It's like the whole world's against you.
You're giving my vehicle. You take care of your whore.
I'm mad I'm not getting laid tonight.
The pressure's relentless. One of you guys is gonna have to step up.
What are you doing, Karen?
Come on, David!
We could lose everything.
I think I'm speaking for all of us when I say we'd rather die than watch this place go down.
Amen.
We ain't losing this farm.
They're gonna know my
What is the best part about being a real-life cowboy and running the McBee Farm and Cattle?
It absolutely is working with family day in and day out. It doesn't come without its challenges. Obviously, you can see that in the show. We fight, we bicker, we have some struggles that we face each and every day, but my brothers and I are as close as you can be as brothers. We're eating dinner together every single night. We might be fist fighting during the middle of the day, and then by 6 p.m. that night, we're eating dinner, sitting by each other, laughing and acting like nothing even happened. How we've always been, and we've always understood, without the support of one another, there is no way we'd ever be able to make it and survive running a tough farm and ranch. Working in a tough industry like farming and ranching really is.
I was watching the trailer, and you allude to the fact that the people in your town, some of them not your biggest fans. Why do you think people are mad at you? Why do you think you have some enemies?
It just comes with the territory. When you're in a small town, life moves a little bit slower. And so whenever you're there trying to make a name for yourself or trying to build a business or just do anything outside of the status quo, you immediately have a small percentage of the people that don't like that and will automatically talk bad about you just because they have too much time on their hands.
Right.
Idle time is the devil's playground, right?
Yep.
So in a small town, you get a lot of that. And I will say, since the show has come out, I've been pleasantly surprised at the positive reception from the locals. I thought it was going to be 50-50, and we've got 85% great support.
Okay, and that's good, because I think at the end of the day, I think we as the average Americans, and I'll include myself in this, even though I'm kind of closer to it than most, I think we forget how hard ranching, trucking, blue-collar stuff, real mechanics, the people who work hard every day. I think we take for granted and lose sight of how hard it is and how this country really gets to run thanks to farmers and ranchers and people like you and your family.
I think that's exactly right. And there's this perception from the outside that seeing all of the equipment we have, the size of our business, that we're just sitting on millions and millions of dollars and just making money hand over fist. And that couldn't be further from the truth. We're leveraged to the hilt. That's why we're actively trying to get this private equity deal done on the car washes to try and recoup some of our capital, because we struggle to make payroll each and every week, and it's a tough industry to make a living in.
Yeah. You mentioned 29 going on really old, but and ranching really is kind of all you've known. But answer me this. If you were to be doing something else other than ranching and working the farm, what do you think that would be?
It's tough to say. I mean, this is just what I've always known and what I've always been involved with. I think if I wasn't involved in farming and ranching, I would want to do something along the lines of maybe a doctor.
Okay.
I think that would be really, really satisfying and fulfilling to be able to know that you're making a difference in people's lives like that. Yeah.
And there's another occupation where people think doctors are loaded, but they forget about how expensive malpractice insurance is and things like that. So leverage to the hilt there as well.
Exactly. Yeah, they are making as much money as you would think.
All right. So you, your brothers, or your dad, who is more likely to go to jail in the next week?
I would say my dad or my brother Cole, for sure.
All right. What was the last time you got hurt on the farm? Or what were you doing?
As boring as this is, I was trying to jump a fence, and I got my ankle caught in between the steel fence, and ended up rolling my ankle pretty dang bad.
Oh. Were you trying to show off for a girl?
Actually, for my brothers.
Okay.
I was trying to show them how fast.
Okay, well,
show them how fast I could jump a fence. I ended up making a fool of myself.
And they're not going to let you live that down, I'm sure. Finally, scale of 1 to 10. Because there's been some the way the story is set up. It's real American cowboys, and there's been some correlation between Yellowstone. If you like Yellowstone, you'll like this show. Scale of 1 to 10. How close to authentic did Taylor Sheridan get Yellowstone?
People may be surprised by it. They think that Yellowstone is so unrealistic and out-centric and just crazy, but the stresses and pressures that everyone in Yellowstone faces when they wake up, and you're like, how could they take on a battle from 8 different directions at one time and facing all of these headwinds? That's real in the farming and ranching industry. So it's way more accurate than you would ever think. Granted, the train station, the explosion, the criminal activity, that's obviously scripted, but the pressures and stresses that come with running a farm and ranch, that is as real as it gets.
When my dogs are bad, I look them right in the eye and I say, you keep that up, I'm going to take you to the train station. They just look at me and they have no idea what Dad's talking about. Hey, listen, Stephen McBee Jr., really great talking with you. The show is The McBee Dynasty, Real American Cowboys, Monday nights, USA Network, also episodes streaming over on Peacock. Watch it. It is fun. It is funny. It is a little scary, a little hazardous, and a lot stressful, but gives you a real insight into what it takes to run a big-time ranch and farm. Best of luck to you and your brothers and your dad, and I appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me on.